snores. What are you supposed to do when they snore? I think you're supposed to, like, roll them off the bed and down the stairs and into traffic.
They say laughter is the best medicine. It can reduce pain, send more oxygen to your brain and heart, and even strengthen your lungs. A good sense of humor is considered one of the most prized qualities when looking for a romantic partner. But for something so valuable, little is known about humor. Is it genetic? What makes someone funny? Can anyone learn to do it?
Hey, welcome guys to class. Thanks so much for coming.
Ed Malone thinks that answer is yes.
And I'm really bad myself.
Okay, great.
He teaches a clown class in New York City.
So this is going to be a template for the evening. See, as duos, who can be the funniest with the trash can.
Yes, I totally believe that anyone can be funny, anyone can be hilarious. My class is a clown class, and when I say clown, just to be clear, I don't teach circus, I don't teach magic tricks, I don't teach, people how to do gymnastic type things. What we do in the class is we just get people in touch with their stupidity, their idiocy.
William, you're up.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Out, left hand outstretched.
Gobble, gobble,
Yeah.
gobble, gobble, gobble.
The clown's philosophy is you can make anything funny.
Krista.
Like we don't want like intellectual humor, we want beautiful stupidity.
Wow.
Happy Thanksgiving.
But on the flip side, you have to be very smart in some ways to tap into that idiotic side, and it takes a lot of vulnerability and openness.
Maggie, the bliss. It's good. Embrace the bomb. When you're bombing, just embrace it. Surf the flop, Yeah, very good.
Another term for a clown is a beautiful idiot. And that's a compliment. I know some people don't like to be called idiots, but if you can show an audience your stupidity, show that willingness to laugh at yourself,
Great job.
then you're on the road to being a good clown.
I'm not married. My boyfriend and I are married, but we like it like this. We're fine. We're cool with it.
Good stand-up comics make it look easy.
Do you know how dating is more fun than being married? People who date don't have married night. When I first went to a stand-up show, I got really jealous because I was like, wow, these people on stage are so naturally funny. Like, I thought that's what they were like 24 hours a day. I didn't know that this was like a writing thing, and there was like a joke, that you build a joke and a punchline and all that.
Carmen Lynch is a regular guest on late-night shows and performs stand-up all over the world.
I hate those people who sleep all night. They always show off. They're like, I can sleep through anything. You know what? You're gonna die in a fire. And I'm gonna watch, because I'll be up. I mean, some people out there are like, I'm so funny, or I was told that I should do stand-up because I'm told I'm so funny. For me, it's something internal. Do you ever just want to kill a cat? Just to see what life it's on? No. Too dark. All right. For me, the biggest thing was sharing my thoughts. Because I always had journals, I always wrote in diaries, so I was like, what frustrates me? Oh, that I'm an actress or trying to be one, and I'm so tall and I can't get any roles. I'm very tall. I'm 6 feet tall. Oh, you can't say tall anymore. It's offensive. It's vertically obese. So I just started taking all that material that I wrote in my journals and trying it on stage. And it would get laughs because everyone knows, your tragedy is other people's comedy.
Becoming an idiot, embracing tragedy. There's a thin line between laughing and crying. Charlie Chaplin encapsulated that idea, saying, "To truly laugh, you must be able to take your pain and play with it." Chaplin's signature character, the Tramp, came from his own tragic childhood, sent to a London workhouse at the age of 9. For something so central to the human experience, comedy hasn't been scientifically researched. Until now.
So I'm going to tell you some neuroscience jokes, if that's okay.
Appropriately, by a scientist who also performs stand-up.
So as you can tell by my accent, I am a neuroscientist.
I'm Ori Amir, and I study the brains of comedians. I was interested in comedy since I was a kid, since my father was a comedian.
And what's the deal with the cerebellum?
I enjoy doing comedy, and I am also intellectually curious. I wonder what is humor, what is the magic sauce that makes things funny.
I like her sister, Margaret Bellum.
Unrelatedly, I was curious about the workings of the brain. So how is this lump of interconnected neurons give rise to thought?
Yeah, you know, my dream is to become a professional comedian and an amateur neurosurgeon.
I decided to conduct a study to see what goes on in the brains of comedians when they come up with funny ideas. Keep your shoes outside.
Shoes are bad too?
Ori conducted the first ever study on comedians and brain activity
Should I just get rid of my personality as well?
by observing the creative process in action.
To understand the neural basis of creativity, you have to put people who create expertly inside this tube, this fMRI machine, and look into their brain activity as they engage in their creative process. Most creative processes are very hard to do inside a tube lying down. This is why comedy was an ideal topic to study, because it's relatively easy to have them come up with a funny idea and then see what it looks like.
Ori put 3 groups of people, professional comedians, amateur comedians, and a control group in an MRI machine, and asked them to come up with captions for a New Yorker cartoon. Not ideal conditions for humor.
The machine is very noisy, they can't move much. Some of them were a bit claustrophobic, but nevertheless they did well.
It's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it's a
Pretty solid brain.
Ori found that the brain scans of the most experienced comedians looked very different than the other 2 groups.
What we found was that there are certain regions in the temporal cortex where professional comedians show more activation than amateur comedians, and amateur comedians show more activation than controls.
The temporal cortex is the place where links from all over the brain converge, sort of a central computer where the brain makes its connections.
Temporal cortex is the source of the funny ideas. It's the engine of the creativity.
While the professional comedians' temporal cortexes were lighting up, another part of their brains were not.
You see actually less activity in the prefrontal cortex, where a region that is essentially the conductor of the orchestra is controlling the cognitive process, but is not the source of the ideas themselves.
So what does it mean?
What our results prove is that amateur comedians and controls needed more top-down control of their creative process, whereas professionals could more spontaneously generate the funny ideas.
So I wasn't always a foreigner?
So for experienced comedians, being funny is more reflexive. It happens naturally in the part of the brain that does things without really thinking about it. That supports Ed Malone's beautiful idiot theory of comedy.
Oh, well then you're part of the clan? Are you part of the clan?
It's just about being willing to let go of wanting control. Just play, just play, just play. Don't think so much, get out of your head and just be a goofball.
But I'm in therapy. That's my religion, therapy.
And explains why, when Carmen is having an off night, she can still do her job.
I'll go on autopilot and I'm like, how are these jokes coming out of my mouth right now? And I'm thinking about something completely different. You know, like, why is that couple kissing? They're in the front row. Or, you know, why is that waitress talking so loud? Like, you know, or something. Or this mic sucks, it's too low.
But it takes a long time to get to that point.
You see that most successful comedians need at least 10 years to become successful, and it requires a lot of work, a lot of honing of jokes, experimentation. It's an acquired skill to a high degree.
Like when I first started and I bombed, I was like, I don't want to leave my apartment for 3 weeks.
We should be eating no-range chickens. No-range chickens are trapped and they want to die.
After a while, it's not that you don't get nervous. I guess you get more confident and you trust it more.
They should put it right on the packaging. No-range, suicidal chickens.
You learn what's funny by doing it. You can't skip that. You know, you have to go on stage all the time, whether it's at a pizza place or whatever.
All right, that's it for me. Thanks.
Play with your pain, get out of your head, and do it for at least 10 years. Oh, and maybe Ed's clown class.
Are you like going, wow, 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 that's inspiring me, funny.
Pity the fool that doesn't want success.
I don't care how hopeless you are. All you have to do is be a human being to be funny.